Glory America, bonjour, hi Canada. Greetings to my 400-plus affiliates, including the brand new Super Talk 92.9 Tri-Cities of Tennessee and Virginia, Kingsport, Johnson City, Bristol. Welcome to the Hugh Hewitt Show. We are so glad to have you. What we try and do is talk to newsmakers every day, including the Attorney General of the state of Ohio this morning. David Yost joins me from the Buckeye State, because that's been the epicenter of a regulatory battle that I think has been won, but which tells us a lot about what has to happen at the FDA. Good morning, Attorney General Yost. Welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Hugh. How are you?
I'm always great to talk to a Buckeye. It lifts my spirits. And I think back to when we chatted at the last fundraiser I was ever able to do before I joined NBC, and that was when you were running for AG. I'm so glad you're in the job. I'm so glad DeWine is in the job as governor. But would you walk the audience through the Battelle story, and then we'll tease out the lessons for the country going forward? It's great news how it ended up, but man, it was bumpy.
Boy, you got that right. Everybody knows we've got a huge shortage of PPE, personal protective equipment, which includes these N95 masks. Now, a single hospital will go through thousands, tens of thousands of these in a day. They're meant to be disposable, and because of panic buying and because of huge demand, you can't find them anymore. They just aren't out there. With the COVID infections ramping up, and we're told spiking sometime within the next month, this is going to be a crisis. Well, Battelle, a scientific research organization, world class here in Columbus, Ohio, had developed a system for a pressurized hydrogen peroxide bath. There's some other steps to it, but the bottom line is they were able to show that they can reuse these masks and have these machines that they've built that allows that to happen. There's only one trouble. You got to play Mother May I in this field, emergency or not, and Mother is named FDA. And so after a week of begging on bended knee to have permission in the middle of a public health emergency to use a proven technology, by the way, that was tested, and the FDA has the report on their own website since 2016. We still couldn't get approval. Finally, Sunday, yesterday, we got news that they had approved it for 10,000 masks per day. I mean, you might as well not do it. Well, the governor...
What's the capacity of Battelle, by the way, Attorney General Yost? How many masks a day with their existing machines? And they will build more, but right now, what was their existing capacity a day?
160,000. You're talking more than an order of magnitude difference here.
So they were approved for 10,000 a day based upon long-held data testing equipment. And it's an NDA, a new drug application, new technology application. I understand it. But the FDA is the hibernating bear of the government. They don't do anything new ever in a hurry for good reasons when it comes to new drugs. But a proven technology in emergency, and then to approve 10,000, I looked at that and said either they're killing 10,000 people a day or they're denying 150,000 people a day a life-saving mask.
Yeah, and Hugh, you were up on Twitter, saw the implications of this before most other people did. Well, Governor Wine swung into action, pointed out how insane it is, and I threatened to take them to court if they didn't get this fixed. The president himself got involved, and at about 10 o'clock last night, I got an email from the White House telling me that they had reissued the letter. Now, in typical bureaucratic fashion, the only thing they changed was they said, okay, well, we said 10,000 a day. What we meant was 10,000 per batch. And they removed the geographic limitation.
Oh, my God. Who signed that letter? Who signed the letter, David Yost?
I don't have it in front of me. I'm assuming it was the commissioner.
You know, someone in that agency screwed up. And you know what? I'm not interested in heads on pikes. I'm interested in that person and everybody at the FDA learning this is not a time for agency capture. Because you know who would not like this? The manufacturer of masks will not like this, because what they used to sell one time is now, how many times can they reuse it? Do you know, David Yost?
About 20.
So all of a sudden their demand curve went down by 95%. I believe my math is correct. And you know what? Doesn't matter in this time, but boy, they're going to hate that. That's what I always feared, that this was regulatory capture. Someone who makes masks telling the FDA you can't approve this because you're going to kill my business. Do you have any idea? Did they give you any explanation why it took them so long?
We'll have to leave that for another day. I don't have any facts to suggest regulatory capture here, but your argument is certainly the least hypothesis. I should point out that the approval is only for Battelle. It's not for the process for other people. It only lasts for the duration of the emergency. So there are some guardrails in place that will prevent this from creating disruption in the marketplace going into the future. Whether that's a good thing or not is probably going to depend on your view of the economy.
Yeah, well, my view is that that's stupid. My view is that that's an efficiency in the marketplace that ought to be encouraged, and that the FDA, people do not understand that the FDA is genuinely concerned about public health, but they are also one of the most hidebound agencies in the world when it comes to moving at lightning speed. So I think Secretary Azar got involved because the president and the vice president got involved, and he saw it. Everybody saw it. It just didn't make a lick of sense. So can Battelle increase their machine capacity? Have you talked with them? Can they go from 160 to 320? Can they make new machines? Can they ship them to New York? All that stuff, David.
I mean, yes, the center of the component of it is a high-pressure pump that's manufactured. It's a boutique thing in Britain. So they can only do a few, probably deliver 2 or 3 a week. They're trying to ramp up production too. Here's the thing, and not to dive into it too deeply, but this is created by the value of this thing is created by a shortage. These masks are incredibly cheap to make, and I'm not sure that the cost of the process, absent a shortage, is going to work out.
Interesting.
But
that's a market issue, right? The market will determine.
Yeah, exactly. Let the market work. And you are 100% right about the FDA and the federal bureaucracy in general. People do not realize the strangling effect of regulation on our economy. They think it's just business people, rich guys that are trying to get around something. It's not. These bureaucrats, their idea of emergency action timelines are measured with multi-year calendars. They might as well use a sundial. Their ability to move quickly in an emergency or to adapt to a market change is almost non-existent.
Now, I know the lawyer at Justice. I know one of the regulatory deregulation experts. And this has been a 3-year battle across. The reason our economy was cooking until the virus is because we have systematically obliged agencies to back. The Army Corps of Engineers can no longer regulate potholes in the middle of a field. We have done 1,000 different things, we being the Trump administration and its lawyers, to loosen the economy. But now we got to do even more, David Yost. Let me turn to the enforcement side. Apparently, the drug trafficking through Ohio has decreased as well. Is that what you're saying as the state's attorney general?
You're talking about like the opiates and methamphetamine?
Yep.
No, sir. No, sir. What's happening is that the opiate death rate is dropping, which is a good thing. But we're not seeing less drugs. We're seeing 2 main things happening. One is naloxone. Thank God it's out there. It's widely available, and so what we have is the addicts that are overdosing are less likely to show up in a morgue, less likely to show up in an ER, because civilians now have this life-saving drug. So that's good. It's saving lives, and that number is definitely going down. The other thing we're seeing is people did get the message about opiates. I've talked with police officers on the streets who have come up to addicts and said, Jimmy, what are you doing? And he said, I'm not on that. I'm not doing that anymore. That opiate stuff will kill you. And heroin will kill you. I'm doing meth.
Well, I'm not sure that's great, but if they're not dying, it's a chance to start living. If you're not dead, it's a chance to start living. David Yost, good work bringing pressure to bear on the Food and Drug Administration. Good people over there. They just got to change their ways in this crisis, and David Yost and Mike DeWine helped them do that. Follow David Yost at Yost #4OH. Great Attorney General. Thank you.